Alrighty guys, what's up? Welcome back to another American Reacts. We are looking at things that are banned in America. Pretty straightforward. Be curious to see what these are and see what we're missing out on in North America, specifically the United States. This is from Secret Truths, and this will be linked in the description down below. Make sure to check them out. Let's get on with it right away. Here we go.
Plastic toy-packed chocolates to easy-to-swallow magnets. Today we look at things that are banned in America.
All right.
Number 7. Stinky cheese. Americans love dairy, especially their cheese. In 2015, a study from the United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA, revealed the average American eats 34 pounds of cheese per year.
Wow.
With a population of more than 325 million people in the country, that's a lot of cheese dairy producers have to provide. But
you know, when you hear numbers like that, it's kind of mind-blowing, right? Like, there is a lot, like he just showed, a lot of people in the U.S., and then to think that the average, of course, those numbers are always kind of finicky. That many people eating that many cheese, that's just like mind-blowing how much cheese that is, right? I would hope I don't eat that much. I do eat cheese, of course. I won't lie to you. But I don't eat it crazy a lot. I would hope not. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know your own statistics, wouldn't it?
even with such a high demand, there are certain dairy delights that fall short of American standards. European cheeses sometimes use processes that are shunned in the United States. Some of the state's banned cheeses include those which rely on insects to produce. One type called mimolette utilizes cheese mites to add another layer of flavor into the cheese as they burrow through the rounded block.
Not gonna lie, maybe it sounds cliche, but that sounds pretty gross, man. That is weird, seeing all those bugs crawl over it and you know, burrow in there and stuff. And that's part of the process to get it to tasty cheese.
Even worse,
I'm not missing that one as an
Kuzu
American.
marzu cheese serves as a hatchery for fly larvae that consume the stinking cheese while leaving behind a sugary, fatty, protein-packed excretion that fans of the dank dairy dish find to provide an exquisite flavor. If you found that example stomach-churning, don't worry. These cheeses won't show up at the local grocery anytime soon, as they remain banned from crossing U.S. borders. Number 6. Kinder.
That one, okay, that's the first one. That one I'm okay with. So we're off to a better start than I would have thought. I thought I'd be jealous of all these. No, that one, wherever that's from, y'all can keep it. We in America, I'm glad that one's banned. All right, on to the next.
As they remain banned from crossing U.S. borders. Number 6. Kinder eggs. With a number of hazards in the public marketplace ranging from faulty electronics or recalled vehicles to unapproved medications,
these ones are funny, Kinder eggs. This one is kind of falsely advertised. Basically, we do have those. They're all over every store in the U.S., but they're called Kinder Joys or something. There's some difference in the name, and it's still an egg, and you break it open, and there is a chocolate egg, and you can eat that part, and there's a toy separate. It comes in like a package, and the toy is separate from the egg. Kind of goofy, I know. I think it's more lawyer speak. It's one of those, remember, America is very like lawyer corporate, and if there is lawsuits or possibilities of dangerous situations from, let's get real, unattentive parents or just maybe, you know, like not the smartest people, they have to like dumb it down. That's my view on it. That's just being real with you. Yeah, we have them. You just can't break open the egg and find a toy inside. The toy's already separate from it and comes with it because there's the risk that a child could bite into it and swallow the toy. But I mean, you know what you're getting. It's a Kinder Surprise egg. It should be known that you break it open, get the toy, and then eat it. But you can't expect the masses to do that, unfortunately, at least here. So that's my viewpoint on why they don't exist and why they do have them here, but they're an alternate method, right?
The first entry on this list comes from something a bit more delicious. Made by Italian candy company Ferraro, the Kinder Surprise is a beloved egg-shaped treat across Europe, known for its delicious milk chocolate flavor and plastic toys hidden within. But the collectible plastic trinkets, which prove popular with children and adults alike, have actually been a cause of concern in the United States and have gotten the candy toy hybrid banned. The Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act of 1938 has continuously blocked the Kinder Surprise from reaching the United States since the candy's debut in 1974.
That's
The act
funny.
essentially bans the sale of any confectionery food item with an embedded non-nutrient, inedible object that doesn't
Yeah.
serve a function for consumption. In short, the candy served as a potential choking hazard in its classic form.
Yeah.
Lucky for Americans, though, in 2017, the Ferrero Company introduced a new item, the Kinder Joy. This
Yeah, there it
updated
is.
version of the Kinder Classic was packaged in a way to fully separate half of the egg, made of candy and a creamy pudding, from the half containing a toy. The
Yeah.
original chocolate egg surprise might not ever make it to the States, but in the meantime, the Kinder Joy will have to do.
Yep.
Number 5. Unrefrigerated.
That's a funny one, but again, not a big deal. I just think it's funny. Like other countries can have it, and the U.S. can't. But hey, it is what it is. At least it's safer. But then again, it comes to like, come on, you shouldn't. It's a surprise egg. You're not gonna scarf the whole thing down and swallow a toy. Like, but anyway, on to the next one.
Not ever make it to the States, but in the meantime, the Kinder Joy will have to do. Number 5. Unrefrigerated eggs. As shown in the last entry,
Yeah.
countries don't always agree with what is and what isn't safe for human consumption. When it comes to eggs and their storage, though, the US and Europe are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. The
I just simply read that in an article one time. I literally like last year. I didn't know my whole life. I'm almost 30. I didn't know my whole life that like overseas, I've heard like you guys just keep your eggs out on the counter or whatever in the cabinet. Like it's not in a fridge. You always refrigerate your eggs here. That's like what you're taught. That's what everyone does. And that just seems so weird to me, like taking out your eggs from when you get home from the grocery store and just letting them sit out. It might sound totally weird to you if you're not from the US, hearing me say, oh, you got to put them in the fridge right away. Yeah, it's just super bizarre, right? And a massive difference. That'd be hard for me to get used to if I was overseas. I'd want to stick them in the fridge just by decades of doing that here in the US. It's pretty funny. I think it has to do with something like pasteurization or something.
The typical instruction given to egg-eating Americans is to refrigerate them upon purchase and
Mm-hmm.
keep them that way. In addition, all eggs are required to have been sanitized and washed before hitting the public marketplace.
Yeah.
But these standards would disqualify the yolk-filled food from reaching shelves across the Atlantic, as the Europeans treat eggs a bit differently. Moisture on the surface of an egg can allow for bacterial growth and the spread of pathogens through the porous shell. This fact, combined with the incentive for farmers to produce and sell only natural clean eggs, has given way to the United Kingdom and European Union ruling that all eggs must not be cleaned by the selling parties. In addition, eggs are coated with a substance called the cuticle, as they're birthed from the mother hen, and this serves to naturally protect the eggs from moisture and bacteria. It's believed by the anti-washing proponents that this natural casing can be damaged by the chemical sanitizing and hot water scrubbing employed by the U.S. In fact, this
Wow.
belief has even been upheld by the USDA. But American egg producers have an answer of
Wow.
their own with a colorless, odorless mineral oil used to coat eggs that require long-term storage. This coat isn't necessary for all eggs, as the current process sees eggs delivered to the marketplace from lay within weeks, if not days. Washing eggs isn't the only point of contention with the US and European countries, also at odds over the temperature at which the protein need to be stored. Nations like Britain, France, and Italy mandate the storage of eggs at room temperature, as eggs transferred from chilled to room temperature will build up condensation on the shell, granting an invitation to infection from foreign
Yeah,
pathogens.
that makes sense.
Conversely, Americans are required to store eggs at 45 degrees or lower, as
Yeah.
opposed to the British recommendation of 68 degrees or below. A major contributor to the
Wow.
refrigeration of U.S. eggs comes from the prevalence of salmonella in eggs left at room temperature too long. It's thought that eggs will last longer without infection if kept chilled continuously. This isn't a concern for the British, who have vaccinated the majority of domestic chickens, resulting
Wow.
in a drop to 581 cases of salmonella poisoning in 2009 from a whopping
Wow.
14,771 cases reported only 12 years earlier. In
Wow, that's a
comparison,
big drop.
U.S.
That's good.
farmers aren't required to inoculate their hen houses. And perhaps due to this fact, a 2011 report from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention showed more than 1 million Americans fell ill with salmonella a year. Farmers blame the
Wow.
cost of
Look at that. Look at that. That is crazy. So the US and their methods are definitely different, but ironically, tons and tons and tons. We're talking over 1 million cases of salmonella. This is a very interesting one. just the difference and look at the results, right? Wow.
Vaccinate as their reason for not doing so, as the FDA estimates a cost of 14 cents per bird, and the
Mm-hmm.
majority of chicken farms keeping poultry by the thousand. But with each hen producing around 260 eggs across their lifetime, perhaps the vaccination would be worth the investment.
Yep, there it is. Of course, even farming here in the US is a big corporate giant. Wow. Woohoo, right? That is the answer to everything. Make it corporate, make it all about penny pitching. Got to make those billions of dollars, and you cannot afford to spend another penny. That is the American way. And yep, they're too cheap to vaccinate the eggs. And of course, salmonella is rampant. All right.
Regardless, these nations remain at a stalemate as the United States continues to ban unrefrigerated eggs and Europe continues to ban the opposite. Number 4. Lead
That's an
books.
interesting one.
Sometimes it takes years for the world to catch up with the side effects of new products. And in the case of old children's books, the realization couldn't come soon enough.
Whoa.
In 2008, the Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act passed through the U.S. Congress and established limitations on the level of lead allowed within products designed for children under the age of 13. This included
yeah.
products like toys, bikes,
Big time, like toys imported from China, things like that. There was a lot of lead outbreak. So I know the U.S. Is pretty strict with minimal or no lead allowed.
playground structures, and books. For some items, this meant strict testing requirements and corrections to their production process. But for others, those changes to the manufacturing procedures had been made decades before. Thus, the issue for these industries was the disposal of products already in existence that violated the new lead limits. Children's books fell under this umbrella. The January following the passing of the CPSI Act, the Consumer Product Safety Commission issued a press release stating that book resellers need not test their products, but were responsible for the sale of any books with high lead levels. The statement said that ordinary paperback and hardback books were okay to sell if printed after 1985.
Okay.
However, books prior to that, or containing electronic or other non-ordinary components, posed a serious risk to children's safety. As a
Wow.
result, only the children's books published within the last 33 years or so are legally allowed within the United States. Number 3.
Wow.
Neodymium balls.
That I didn't know about the books. I knew about the toys and other things like that, right? Not having lead. Again, that one makes sense. I'm all for safety, right? Why expose yourself to something dangerous if you don't need to? So, yeah, let's see what number 3 is.
One item not meant to be ingested anywhere in the world, let alone in the US, are buckyballs. Though not technically banned at the moment, this product has had a rough time over the past decade. These small magnetic balls are made of an incredibly powerful naturally magnetic material called neodymium.
Now, those look pretty cool. He did just mention that they're not technically banned because I feel like I've seen something like that or resembling that. But yeah, let's hear what he says. I can see why it'd be dangerous, I guess. But
2009, Maxfield and Oberton, makers of the building block-like beads, repurposed them from their original intended use as an office desktop trinket to that of a toy, and watched sales skyrocket to 175,000 units sold.
Wow.
Unfortunately for them, proper labels weren't administered for child safety, and a recall was issued. But less than 50 buckyball purchases were returned. Instead, Americans saw a rise in magnetic-related hospitalizations in the coming years, with children and teenagers accidentally swallowing individual buckyballs. Due to the intense strength of the magnets, new complications arose when more than one ball was consumed. If these magnetic balls are in the vicinity of one another, with nothing but inner body tissue separating them, the damage can prove brutal if not fatal. Initially in
that's pretty
2012, the
bad.
Consumer Product
Yo, that does not sound good. Having some super strong magnets that's the point of the toys. Like, look at these. They're super strong. You can like hold them apart and they'll come together. Yeah, you would not want that inside of you with nothing but soft, inner body tissue separating them. If they fall into the wrong position and want to come together, oh, geez Louise, that could spell trouble.
Product Safety Commission,
that's messed
or
up.
CPSC, sought to outright ban the products and conducted a lawsuit against buckyballs. This essentially ended their production, but a second company that had no record of injury on file pushed the matter to allow for their product, which was similar, if not the same, to buckyballs. This business, Zen Magnets, found the fault to lie with labeling issues and not the product itself. And so in 2016, the regulatory ban was overturned by the U.S. Court of Appeals, which sided with Zen Magnets. Sale of the small
There you go.
magnetic ball has resumed in recent years, but with the addendum of strict requirements established by the CPSC to ensure the safest transactions possible regarding the product. These guidelines were even requested by Zen Magnets, as the new leader in magnetic ball toys seems to indicate doing things by the book. Still, the
It's kind of funny,
CPSC
but
couldn't be too happy, as the overturned ban marked the first loss for the Commission in 30 years. Number 2. Haggis. Hazards to children's health aren't the only reason to ban products in America. Every year, the USDA evaluates food, drink, and other consumable products, as well as chemical products, on their safety and suitability for use and sale in the states. In 1971, the U.S. determined all animal lung products to be unsafe for consumption, as there was an increased risk in digestive fluids like phlegm or stomach acid entering the organ during slaughter. Used seldomly in some countries, one internationally popular culinary creation relies heavily on the banned meat for traditional production. The
wow.
national dish of Scotland, haggis, made
Oh, I don't know anything about that. I've actually feel like I've never heard of that.
from minced sheep's lung, liver, and heart, along with onions, oatmeal, spices, and animal fat. This granular
Oh,
concoction is boiled till ready within a tightly wrapped sheep's stomach. The
I'm I'm sure this is no surprise to any foreign viewers. Yeah, my American palate, that does not look good at all. I feel like that would be inedible for me. I don't mean any disrespect. For one, it could be one of those foods that doesn't look the best and actually tastes amazing. That wouldn't be something I'd run after for sure.
oatmeal-esque consistency of the meal contains a distinct taste of offal that can come off grainy and spicy, but is loved in its country of origin. Haggis remains available throughout Scotland
Beautiful,
year-round and
beautiful
comes
side of
in a
Scotland.
variety of brands with lower price selections opting for a synthetic casing over the traditional stomach. Fast food variants across the European country have utilized the meat as well,
Oh
with
wow.
items like haggis and chips, called haggis supper, haggis pizza, haggis burgers, and even a
Whoa.
deep-fried Indian version called haggis pakora. But
Okay,
Scottish
that's kind of
Americans
cool, you gotta
remain
admit.
stuck with the options of visiting Scotland or lungless alternatives within the United States. America is going on
Wow.
47 years of outlawing the meat with no signs of this exotic dish coming west in the future.
Oh,
Number
wow.
1.
Well, that came around then. That's pretty interesting. I like that they try and diversify it in different types of foods and dishes. And then, yeah, I guess if you came from Scotland or somewhere where they had haggis as a normal thing, a treat, and you come over to America for something, for a job, or just for something new, and you can't get it anymore, that would be a shame, right? I wonder how many different things that applies to. I'm sure there's more.
True absinthe. The mythical liquor known as absinthe has gone in and out of style
Whoa,
over the past couple of centuries
look at
due to its
that.
rumored hallucinogenic side effects and
No
high
way.
alcohol content. But the jade green drink has had its fair share of bannings, both in the United States as well as abroad. Using wormwood oil as a main ingredient,
Ooh.
absinthe typically contains a toxic chemical called thujon. This element has led to the drink being banned abroad, but the stigma surrounding the alcohol comes more from its history as the go-to drink for drunken debauchery. In the US, the sale of absinthe has been renewed since 2007, but in a slightly watered-down capacity. Sporting a limit of only 10 milligrams of thujon per liter, American absinthe falls short of the 35 milligram per liter norm of its European cousin.
Oh,
Still, the
wow.
drink has long since been proven not to grant hallucinations and simply serves as a high-content grain alcohol, thus making the
Okay.
ban of true absinthe from the United States less drastic a loss, with American-made drinks like the 190 proof Everclear readily available.
Yeah, I was gonna say Everclear. Hallucinate, that'll just knock you on the ground. Well, that was pretty interesting. I didn't know about that last one either. I thought I knew a lot of alcohols, but I guess I don't know that one. It's probably not advertised a lot. But there you have it. I hope you found that interesting wherever you're watching from. Those are things that are banned in America. I'm sure there's many, many more. I have to say, it was a little less envious after watching it than I would have previously thought. I thought a lot of them would be really cool stuff, and it's like, why don't we have that here? But like the cheese and the haggis and like the Kinder Joy thing, those aren't really a big deal to me. Maybe for other Americans they are. That's just it. Every country has their own things, right? I think there's a lot you can do in America that maybe you can't do in other countries. But on the flip side, there's a lot that you cannot do in America, or you have to wait to do, like drink till you're 21. All these different things that we can't do, but you can do overseas, or you can do earlier overseas. So There you have it. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Every country is different and has its own unique lifestyle. What did you think of these? Were you shocked to hear any of these? Are you not from the U.S. and have you came to the U.S. on holiday or vacation or traveling through and been shocked by something that maybe you were used to and was completely different here or couldn't do here? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and got a laugh out of it. Of course, you can subscribe for more stuff like this. Check out the description for this original video and other ways you can support my channel. Remember, my name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Appreciate you being here. Catch you later.